Hi, good morning.
Heavenly Father, as we gather for this debate competition, we thank you for the opportunity to share ideas, knowledge, and talents. Bless all the participants, judges, teachers, and guests present today. Grant the speakers confidence and wisdom, and help everyone to show respect, fairness, and good sportsmanship throughout this event. May this competition be both educational and inspiring, and may all things be done in peace and excellence. Amen. All right, let us recite the national pledge. I pledge myself and to be loyal to my country, to be obedient to the laws of Guyana, to love my fellow citizens, and to dedicate my energy towards the happiness and prosperity of Guyana. Thank you. You may be seated. So we now have our welcome done by Ms. Fredericks.
Good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to this first exciting Teachers Debate Final. On behalf of the organizing committee, I extend a warm welcome to our distinguished judges, special guests, school administrators, fellow educators, supporters, and all those joining us this morning. Today, we gather not only to witness a competition, but also to celebrate the power of ideas, critical thinking, and effective communication. Debate provides an opportunity for teachers to demonstrate their very skills we encourage in our pupils every day. The ability to analyze issues, present logical arguments, listen respectfully, and respond thoughtfully to differing viewpoints. Our finalists have worked diligently to prepare for this event. Their commitment, confidence, and professionalism reflect the high standards of excellence that educators strive to uphold. Regardless of the outcome, each participant deserves recognition for contributing to a culture of intellectual engagement and lifelong learning. As we listen to the arguments presented this morning, let us appreciate the diversity of perspectives and the spirit of healthy discussion that debate promotes. May this event inspire us to continue fostering open-mindedness, collaboration, and critical inquiry within our schools and communities. To our judges, thank you for dedicating your time and expertise to this competition. To our debaters, we wish you the very best as you present your cases. To our audience, we encourage you to enjoy the exchange of ideas and support all participants with enthusiasm and respect. Once again, welcome to the Teachers Debate Final. We look forward to a morning of insightful discussion, spirited competition, and educational excellence. Thank you, and let the debate begin.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fredericks, for that warm welcome. So we'll have Ms. Shoshana from St. Margaret's reciting a little poem. Just take a few minutes.
Good morning. The name of the poem that I will be reading today is The Teacher's Debate by N. Troyer. Voices rise with courage so bright. These teachers stand to share their light, with their strong argument highlighted. Words of wisdom, calm and strong, guiding minds where thoughts belong. With every point and every claim, they speak with passion, not to harm. Ideas bloom upon the stage, knowledge turning every page. Some defend while others oppose, yet mutual respect still gently grows. For in debate they truly show how minds can learn and hearts can glow. The audience listens, inspired and proud, cheering each speaker strong and loud. For teachers lead in every way, shaping tomorrow through words today. A teacher's debate is more than just speech. It's the power of the mind that teach. A celebration of truth and art where wisdom speaks from every heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Shoshana. So I'm going to ask our Education Officer Literacy to give a short remark. Thank you, Ms. Onika Hines. Let's welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Judges, debaters, this morning I want to say a special good morning to you once again. And it's absolutely a privilege to be here today, representing the National Literacy Department of the Newport from our Chief Education Officer, Ms. Stembiso Grant, and from me as the immediate supervisor with responsibility for literacy at Georgetown. And it's absolutely a privilege to be here today in person. I've been following on YouTube and being all excited about what I'm seeing as it relates to the debate. And I'm really happy that I can be in person today to have that first-hand experience today. And I want to say to our debaters, it's a bold step to even think of participating and here today to reach at this level. I want to say to you as well, it's a role in reverse, because many times as educators and as teacher, and me, when I was in secondary school being a debater, I know how much teachers would put into our students to prepare them. But here, you are putting some valuable time into your own self, doing your research, getting your defense for the Moot and all of that. And I know it requires a lot of work. But I must applaud you for your efforts and all that you've been doing to prepare yourselves for the debate today. You know, and I know that your students, your learners will be very proud of you, that they can look at you as a role model. So it's not just teaching them and telling them how to persuade, but now they can see you defend a very wonderful Moot, you know, and win, of course, but it's even more than that. It's the experience that you're having as an educator. So this morning, I don't want to keep you long, but I want to say all the best to Smith's Memorial and to St. Margaret's, right? Whatever's the outcome, the experience will be wonderful. So God bless you, and do enjoy the rest of the session.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. So we're going to move ahead with the debate. So the moot for today is student success in primary schools is best achieved when classroom realities guide educational reform. Student success in primary schools is best achieved when classroom realities guide educational reform. Now I'll ask Ms. Jonna Waldron, our literacy coordinator, to introduce our judges.
Good morning, everyone. The pleasure is mine to introduce our distinguished judges. Ms. Bonita Hunter, Bachelor's of Education, Masters of Business Administration, Masters of Science, is a distinguished educator, lecturer, and academic leader with more than 40 years of experience in the teaching profession. She currently serves as a lecturer and deputy dean in the Faculty of Education and Humanities at the University of Guyana, Turkine campus. Throughout her career, she demonstrated an unwavering commitment to education excellence, teacher development, and student success. A passionate advocate for critical thinking and effective communication. Ms. Hunter has a deep interest in debates and the development of public speaking skills among students. Her extensive academic qualifications, leadership experience, and dedication to education have earned her widespread respect as a professional and influential contributor to the advancement of education in Guyana. Today, she sits on our panel as our head judge for today's debate competition. Please give her a round of applause. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our first judge for today's competition, Ms. Charlotte Joseph Rose. Ms. Rose is a woman whose story proved that determination has no limit. In fact, she first sat her CXC examination. I repeat, she first sat her CXC examination at a remarkable age of 31, showing us all that learning is truly a lifelong journey. After dedicating many years to shaping young minds, she retired as a graduate head teacher, leaving behind a legacy of commitment and excellence in education. But there's more to her than meets the eyes. When she's not inspiring others through education, she enjoys singing, and her hidden talent is writing, a skill that prepares, explain her love for creativity and expression. Today, she continues to serve the education sector as the administrator of the Board of Governors at the Bredam Secondary School. Please join me in giving a warm and enthusiastic welcome to a lifelong learner, educator, singer, writer, and role model, Ms. Charlotte Joseph Rose. Moving on is our second judge for today. This individual is an experienced educator and education officer serving at the secondary level in Georgetown. With a strong commitment to improving teaching and learning outcomes, she has served in the education sector for several years, gaining extensive experience in school administration, curriculum implementation, and teacher support. This individual holds a degree in literacy studies from the University of Guyana and is currently wrapping up a master's degree in educational leadership and management. With a research focus on special education needs and disability SEN, her dissertation explores the role of school leadership in promoting teacher preparedness for teaching students with special needs in Guyana. Her academic and professional journey reflects a dedication to educational excellence, leadership and inclusive education, critical thinking, and the power of language, qualities that lies at the heart of debating. Her work continues to inspire both teachers and students, and her dedication to educational excellence has earned her the respect and admiration of many throughout the nation. Please join me in giving a warm and enthusiastic welcome to our outstanding educator, mentor, and advocate for literacy, Miss Charlene Williams. And also my colleague at the Ministry of Education. And now, before we begin, every great debate needs someone who can keep our enthusiastic speaker on track. Yes, and ensure that time waits for no one. Mark, is here? Okay, so just her, right? She's here? Okay, great. Okay, so let's go to our third judge, Mr. Tyrese Pearson. Mr. Pearson is a teacher at the Brigham Secondary School. He attained a diploma and undergraduate degree in agriculture of education. He has also attained a degree in management, in business. Also, he is an agricultural consultant. He does that privately. He's also a youth leader. He's the founder of the NGO, which launched the Out Initiative. Great. He's a public speaker, locally and regionally. He participated in the Guyana Regional and National Youth Debate, and he's a youth parliamentarian, and he has also I think he was awarded 3 Best Debater while he participated. So please give Mr. Pearson a big round of applause. Yes, so as I said before, we're moving on to our from here. You should allow me to say it from here. Yes. Now, before we begin, every great debate needs someone who can keep our enthusiastic speakers on track and ensure that time awaits for no one. Serving our official timekeeper for today's competition is Miss Martha Ward Mohammed. Ms. Ward Mohammed is a literacy support teacher at the St. Margaret's Primary School and a dedicated educator with more than 20 years of experience at both the nursery and primary levels. She is a trained teacher and a holder of a Bachelor's of Science degree in Education Studies with specialization in special education. Known for her passion for teaching and learning, she has spent her career helping young minds grow, thrive, and achieve their fullest potential. Beyond her professional accomplishments, she is a proud mother of one and a valuable colleague who serve as many as my trusted right hand in supporting literacy development at St. Margaret's Primary School. With her keen attention to details and years of experience keeping students on task, we can form a younger debater at secondary schools and a mentor of students who debated at both. Let's welcome Miss Okay, English language, right? Okay, let's welcome Miss Ward Mohammed, our timekeeper for today's debating competition. Thank you so much for your wise English knowledge. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jonelle, for your warm welcome of the judges. Now I'm going to introduce you to welcome Ms. Bonita Hunter, our head judge, as she gives the rules and guidelines for this competition.
You know me neither, right? Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for the warm introduction for me and the persons who I share the table at the front here with. I can assure you that you have persons who are going to ensure that all of you who are already winners somebody will step out with the big trophy. So every debate has rules and those to which you should conform. So each team should consist of 3 teachers. As you see, the fourth person is a support from the same school. So once the competition commences, no member should be changed except in the case of an emergency, and I guess that has happened. The time allocated to each speaker will be as follows. First speaker, 10 minutes. Second speaker, 7 minutes. Third speaker, 5 minutes. You'll have some time to prepare your rebuttal, and then you will rebut for 5 minutes. When there is 1 minute to the finish, you'll hear the bell. Could you touch it and let them hear? Good. And when the time is ended, could you let them see? No, 2 times. Good. It means that when you hear the 2 bells, you should have completed your last point. Okay? However, I'm just saying this to both of you, just finish whatever you're saying. But if you go past your time, the judges will not document the information that you present after the bell. Sometimes people have their best points after the bell. Too bad. And your inability to stick to your time demonstrates lack of preparation. Points will be awarded for the clear and logical presentation of arguments for original ideas. You can refer to your notes but not read them. So that is something that I hope that you got yourselves well organized for, because I know that you were those points were discussed with you in your previous presentations. So the points will be deducted when you just keep reading. Points will be awarded for fluency and eloquence. Only the first speaker on each team is permitted to rebut, so no new arguments or material should be introduced in the rebuttal. So you just can't think, oh gosh, I should have said this in before and I can say it now. Points should be awarded for the good use of English vocabulary, and there must be keen attention paid to your grammar. So don't bring green verbs here. And the last but very special, our decision is final. So may the best team, the best teams are here, but you know, when the points count up, we'll see who goes away with your top trophy. But as I said, take it. Being here means that you're all with us. So I wish you every success, and I am looking forward to hearing your arguments. The competition will be first. The competition will be so first speak for the proposition, first speak for the opposition, and go down the line.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Miss Hunter, for those rules and the guideline for the competition. So let the debate begin. So we're gonna.
All of you who have your phones, could you make sure it's on silent? Your phone ringing in the middle of the speaker's presentation will distract them, will cause people not to be very comfortable. So I'm asking even the waiters, because I know that phones are now part of your DNA. So that's all right. But just don't let DNA in
Okay.
class at all.
Before I call the first speaker, let's take some time to acknowledge our district education officer, Miss Mira. Miss Yigita Singh. She will give her remarks as we go along. All right, let's acknowledge her presence. So we begin with our first speaker of the proposition, Ms. Diana Trotman. Let's welcome her. I'll write it. Go ahead.
You will begin when the bell goes.
Yes, Miss.
All right, breathe. All right.
Good morning, Chairperson, respected judges, members of the opposing team, timekeeper, and my fellow audiences. Today, I stand proudly in support of the Moot. Student success in primary school is best achieved when classroom realities guide educational reforms. Before presenting my argument, it is important that we define the key terms in this Moot. Classroom realities. This is the actual conditions, experience, challenges, and needs that exist within the classroom. These include factors such as students' learning abilities, class size, available resources, language differences, teaching methods, and social and economic circumstances that affect learning. Educational reform are deliberate changes or improvements made to educational policies, curricula, teaching methods, programs, and school systems with the aim of improving the quality of education and students' achievement. Therefore, this Moot argues that students achieve greater success when changes to the education system are guided by what is actually happening in the classrooms rather than by assumptions made outside of them. I will be speaking on the point that classroom-based reforms empowers teachers as expert agents. My second speaker, Ms. Marshallay, will further speak to the cultural response in pedagogy, while our third speaker, Ms. Joanna, will address how classroom realities help to ensure practical relevance and feasibility. Ladies and gentlemen, let us think about one simple question. Who understands the classroom best? Is it someone sitting in an office far away from the school environment? Or is it the teacher who spends hours every single day working directly with students across Guyana? The obvious answer is the teacher. Teachers see firsthand which students are struggling with reading and writing, which teaching methods are effective, what resources are lacking, and what challenges students face both inside and outside of the classroom. Because of this, teachers should not simply be told what to do. They should be treated as experts whose experiences help shape educational reforms. Far too often, educational policies are created without proper consultation and collaboration with teachers. A program may look excellent on paper, but once it reaches the classroom, teachers realize it does not matches students' actual needs. In Guyana, many teachers work in overcrowded classrooms, with students functioning at different academic levels. Some children may be reading far below their grade level, while others may struggle with English because English is not their first language, spoken at home. Teachers understand these realities because they experience them every day. A clear example of a reform not fully considering classroom realities can be linked to the heavy emphasis on national examinations and pass rates. Schools are often pressured to produce NGSA results, and this can sometimes lead to teachers to heavily focus on drilling students for exams rather than ensuring that they have a deep understanding and meaningful learning. As a result, some struggling learners may be left behind because the focus becomes improving examination performance instead of addressing individual learning needs. Teachers know that not every child learns at the same pace. Yet classroom realities are sometimes ignored in favor of statistics and targets. Another example is the Reading and Educational Assistance Program, currently known as REAP. This program was introduced to help struggling readers through remedial literacy support and targeted instruction. While the intentions behind the program was good, it was eventually discontinued because it did not achieve the level of success that was expected. One reason for this was that many schools still face major challenges such as overcrowded classrooms, limited teaching resources, inconsistent implementation, and insufficient support for teachers. In many cases, teachers were trying their best, but the realities in the classroom made it difficult for the program to fully succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, this actually strengthens our argument today. It shows that even programs designed to support struggling learners will not succeed unless educational reforms truly reflect the real conditions teachers and students experience every day. Teachers understand that students need more individualized attention, more learning materials, and stronger support systems because classroom realities were not always fully addressed. Educational philosopher Paulo Freire believed that education should involve participation and dialogue, not simply instructions from above. In other words, teachers should have a voice in shaping the education system, not just carrying out the orders. And honestly, this makes sense. If teachers are the people implementing reforms every day, shouldn't their experiences matter? When teachers are empowered as expert agents, reforms become more practical and effective. Teachers can identify what truly works in the Guyanese classroom. They know when students are engaged and they know when they are confused. They know when a curriculum is realistic and when it is overloaded. For instance, in many primary schools, teachers know that children learn best when lessons connect to everyday life. A mathematics lesson using examples from the market, farming, minibuses, or local shops often makes more sense to students than abstract learning from a textbook. Teachers see these responses immediately. That is why their voices are very important. Empowering teachers also improve motivation and professionalism. Imagine being a trained educator, working hard every day, and still having no say in decisions that directly affect our students. That would be very frustrating However, when teachers are included in educational reform discussions, they feel respected and valued. They become more committed to making reforms successful and help shape them. Organizations such as UNESCO continues to stress the importance of teacher involvement in improving education systems. This is because successful reforms depend heavily on people who deliver the education in the classroom. Ladies and gentlemen, empowering teachers also benefits the students directly. Teachers understand that no two students learn the same way. Some children struggle with reading, some have short attention spans, some may face difficulty at home that affect learning. Others may need extra encouragement to participate. These are things teachers notice daily, but policymakers never fully see from reports and statistics alone. Teachers help bridge the gap between educational theory and actual students' learning. Without teacher input, reforms risk becoming unrealistic, difficult to apply, and disconnected from students' real needs. Teachers are not obstacles to reform. They are key partners in reform. And when teachers are trusted and empowered as experts, students are the ones who benefit the most. In closing, student success in primary school is best achieved when classroom realities guide reforms because this empowers teachers as expert agents of change. Teachers understand the classroom. Teachers understand the students. And teachers understand what truly works. Educational reform should not only happen in offices and meetings, it should also be shaped by experience of the educators who stand in front of the students every single day across Guyana. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, let's welcome our first speaker of the opposition, Ms. Vanessa Wills.
honorable judges, worthy opponents, special invitees, timekeeper, everyone. A warm welcome to you all. Today we, the opposition, rise to refute the Moot, which states, and I quote, "Students' academic success in primary schools is best achieved when classroom realities guides educational reform," end of quote. The opposition apologetically refutes this motion because, honorable judges, reform that is geared towards enhancing a nation's academical success encompasses a broader foundation than what takes place in the day-to-day classroom activity. I am Vanetta Wills, and as first speaker, I will demonstrate that classroom realities are too inconsistent and limited to serve as the primary guide for national educational reform. Also, allowing fragmented classroom experiences to shape educational reform risks creating inequalities rather than creating academic success for a nation. Our second speaker, Ms. Bristol, will demonstrate that educational reform requires expertise beyond the classroom experience, while our third speaker, Ms. Smith, will show that student success is not limited to the classroom, but is also influenced by many factors outside of the classroom. Let's define our key terms. According to the United Nations Scientific and Educational Cultural Organization, student success refers to the achievement of positive academic, social, emotional, and developmental outcomes that are geared towards enabling learners to achieve their fullest potential. TVS and renowned educational psychologist Sandra Akkar, 1991, defined classroom realities as the actual conditions and experiences teachers and students encounter in their day-to-day teaching and learning environment, some of which are class size, student needs, available resources, and classroom interactions. According to the Education Strategic Plan Vision 2030, educational reform refers to the continuous legal sanctioned process of modifying and improving the education system of a nation. It involves activities such as updating curricula, teaching methods, and school structures, aligning with shifting values, economic needs, and global standards. The opposition hereby redefined the Moot as follows, and I quote, "Student success in primary school is best achieved when educational reforms are guided by a broad range of evidence, research, expertise, and all stakeholders' input, rather than being primarily guided by classroom realities alone," end of quote. Worthy opponents, educational system consists of thousands of classrooms operating under different circumstances. One teacher may have 15 students in her class, while another may have 30 or more. One school may have access to technology, while another struggle with basic resource. One classroom may consist largely of high-achieving learners, while others may serve students that are facing tremendous socio-economical challenges. The reality is that classroom experiences differ significantly from one school to another. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation Development, educational reforms must be designed through a holistic framework that connects governance, curricula, teachers' development, resource allocation, monitoring, and evaluation, because educational needs and learning environments varies across schools and regions. Educational reform, therefore, encompasses a broader perspective than any individual classroom experience can provide. A classroom can reveal local challenges, yes, but national reform must address the needs of the entire nation. As the saying goes, my worthy opponents, a passenger may see the wave, but that does not mean he or she is equipped to navigate the whole ocean. Similarly, classroom realities provide insight into immediate experiences, but educational reform, but it's not enough to guide educational reform. Educational reform that will positively enhance the education of its nation. Honorable judges, educational reform guided primarily by classroom realities risks increasing inequality. If reforms are guided mainly by the classroom day-to-day realities, whose reality will matter, honorable judges? Is it the urban classroom, the rural classroom, the well-resourced classroom, the under-resourced classroom? Worthy opponents, not all classrooms require equal attention. Not all schools have equal influence. Not all communities have equal resources. Consequently, reforms based primarily on classroom experiences may reflect the realities of some groups while ignoring the difficulties of others. Educational economists Eric Hosky and Lagor Woodman found that educational reforms based on differentiated experiences and pathways can increase inequality and may reduce the overall academic success of students. Similarly, UNESCO emphasized that reducing educational disparities requires addressing structural features of educational reform rather than focusing solely on individual classroom experiences. Educational reform should therefore seek to reduce disparities rather than reinforcing them. Because when inequalities increases, opportunities for student success decreases. Listening audience, educational reform should be guided by large-scale evidence, rigorous research, and long-term planning. According to the World Bank, improving educational qualities requires integrated approaches involving assessment system, accountability structures, teachers' development, early childhood intervention, and evidence-based policymaking. Likewise, the OECD has documented more than 1,600 educational reforms across 38 education systems, demonstrating that successful educational reforms emerge from a broad evidence gathering and system-wide analysis. Think about that, worthy opponents. More than 1,600 reforms across 38 education systems. Why are those numbers important? The answer is clear. Effective educational reform requires comprehensive evidence. It requires policymakers to identify patterns, trends, and national priorities. It requires looking beyond mere classroom experiences to understand what benefits the entire education system of a nation. Educational reform succeeds when decisions are informed by comprehensive evidence rather than isolated experiences. Honorable judges, classroom realities are important. Classroom realities are informative, but classroom realities alone are not enough. They are too insufficient, too fragmented, too limited to guide effective educational reform geared towards promoting its nation's success. Effective educational reform should be guided by evidence, equity, national priority, and long-term planning. Worthy opponents, the opposition leave you with this message from Linda Darlington, policy reform specialist, and I quote, "Reforming education means creating schools where every student has the opportunity to succeed, regardless of background or circumstances," end of quote. Honorable judges, when educational reform is guided by comprehensive evidence, opportunities expand for all, systems improve, and more students achieve long-term success. I hereby rest my case.
Okay, let's welcome our second speaker of the proposition, Ms. Marshall Griffith.
Imagine a doctor prescribing medicine without ever checking patient's pulse, temperature, or history. Absurd, right? Yeah, that is exactly what we do when we design educational reform without looking inside facts. Today, I'm Jacob. When classroom reality, I will answer this case in one powerful again or CRT. Let me be clear from the onset. Some may ask, what about teacher training and funding? These are important, but they are separate. First Nations in the Caribbean. Our classroom reflects that richness. In a single Region 4 primary school classroom, you might find children whose language include English, Creolese, Spanish, or an indigenous language. Yet, how many textbooks features persons called Dianorine or Ikwoma? How many passages describe a child helping to plant cassava or fetching water, rather than raking leaves or shoveling snow? A 2019 Caribbean Development Bank study revealed that over 40% of hinterland students read below grade level, not because they lack intelligence, but because materials mirrored coastal foreign norms. UNESCO further found that students who see their own culture reflected in lessons are 34% more likely to feel motivated. Reforms that ignore this are built on sand. So what exactly is CRP and why does it work? Culturally responsive pedagogy uses students' own cultural knowledge as a foundation for learning. It is not a single heritage month. It is daily practice, using local proverbs to teach reading or fractions through sharing cassava. Think of reform as a key and the classroom as a lock. Carve the key from pure theory and it will not turn. But measure the lock, our students' actual identities, and the key opens success. A 2020 meta-analysis in the Journal of Educational Psychology found that CRP aligned classroom scored a 0.62 standard deviation higher in literacy and maths, moving students from 50th to the 74th percentile. Consider Guyana. In 2022, a pilot program in 3 rural communities introduced bilingual maths books. Within 1 year, numeracy pass rates jumped from 39% to 67%, a classroom reality-guided reform. Success followed. What happens without reality-guided reform? Failure. And failure has a name, top-down reform, that forgets the people it is meant to serve. Take Jamaica, for example. For decades, punishing children for speaking Jamaican Creolese while forcing English. This produced chronically low literacy. But how was this addressed? In 2004, the Jamaican Language Unit launched the Bilingual Educational Project, teaching both Jamaican Creolese and English. The result? Students perform better in English than those in traditional classrooms. Let me give you these local examples. Many Guyanese children speak Creolese at home. CRP uses contrastive analysis, teaching standard English by comparing, not punishing. A 2022 study in Caribbean communities supports this mechanics supports this in that in writing mechanics improved by 42%. Indigenous students in Region 7 have a strong oral tradition. Culturally responsive pedagogy turned these traditions into story-based assessment. A 2023 IDB report found that attendance rose from 74% to 89% within just 8 months. This shows how adapting instruction to local culture rather than importing foreign script produces measurable response. Now imagine the reverse. Imagine a reform born from a teacher in Madhya saying, my students need rainforest science, not, sorry. The path to a student's success is not paved by foreign blueprint or top-down mandate. It is paved by teachers who listen to students, who see themselves in their lessons. For these reasons, affirm the motion. Thank you.
More.
Okay, let's welcome our second speaker of the opposition, Ms. Kalitia Bristol.
Thank you. Honorable judges, members of the proposition, attentive audience. My first speaker has demonstrated how classroom realities are too inconsistent and fragmented to serve as the primary guide for educational reform. I rise to advance this case further. As second speaker for the opposition, I stand to advance a simple but critical truth. Educational reform requires expertise beyond the classroom experience. Now, before our argument is misrepresented, let me be clear. We are not saying that teachers lack value. We are not saying that classroom experiences are irrelevant. We are saying that the classroom experience alone is insufficient for designing a national educational reform geared towards excelling student success. Honorable judges, that distinction matters. Teachers provide essential insight, but educational reform also requires expertise from researchers, curriculum specialists, policymakers, economists, and educational psychologists. Some may believe that because teachers and students experience educational challenges firsthand, classroom reality should guide educational reform. At first glance, that sounds reasonable. After all, who understands the classroom better than teachers? But understanding a classroom and designing a national educational system are not the same thing. This distinction is important because educational reform operates at a national level, not merely at the classroom level. Judges, educational reform is not simply about teaching lessons and managing students. It involves national curriculum development, assessment systems, educational psychology, workforce planning, technological integration, long-term economic development, and so much more. These are not decisions that can be made solely through the classroom experience. A teacher may know how to teach mathematics effectively, but does that automatically mean he or she knows how to design a national curriculum? A teacher may know what works in one classroom, but does that automatically mean he or she knows what works for an entire country? Of course not. In order for students to gain maximum success in education, educational reform requires a broader foundation than the classroom experience alone. Does teaching 25 students qualify someone to redesign a system serving hundreds of thousands? That's not logic. That's wishful thinking. Educational reform does not only allow for individual student success, it shapes a nation's future workforce, its economy, and competitiveness among other nations. According to the World Bank, education is one of the strongest drivers for economic growth and human capital development. Educational policies therefore require strategic planning and evidence-based decision-making that extend beyond the classroom. Notice what the World Bank emphasizes: strategic planning, because educational reform is ultimately a national investment, not a classroom management exercise. Opponents, if we were reforming the healthcare system, would we ask the patients alone to design the healthcare policy? No.
We would consult medical researchers, economists, administrators, and of course, the healthcare professionals. So why should education be different? Why should one perspective dominate a process that requires expertise from many fields? The OECD emphasizes that modern education systems must prepare learners for future demands such as digital literacy, critical thinking, collaboration, and problem solving. These long-term goals require planning that extends beyond the classroom experience. The OECD has also repeatedly found that successful education systems rely on collaboration among policymakers, researchers, school leaders, communities, and teachers to improve student outcomes. You notice something important? Teachers are included, they are valued, they are consulted, but teachers are not the sole drivers of reform. And that is precisely our position. The opposition is not arguing that classroom reality should be ignored. We are arguing that they should not dominate. They should inform, not direct. They should contribute, not control. They should advise, not govern. Because successful educational reform requires expertise that extends far beyond the walls of the classroom. Educational researcher John Hattie synthesized that more than 800 meta-analyses involving over 80 million students and found that the most effective educational interventions are identified through systematic research, not personal experience. Think about that. 80 million students. Research provides evidence. Classroom realities provide perspective, but perspective alone is not enough. Yes, teachers are close to educational challenges. Yes, classroom realities matter, but being closest to a problem does not automatically make one best equipped to design national solutions. Student success is too important to be shaped by one viewpoint alone. Educational reform should be informed by classroom realities, but guided by evidence, guided by expertise, and long-term vision. A classroom can tell us what is happening. It cannot tell us what should happen across an entire nation. And for those reasons, the opposition firmly rejects the Moot. Thank you. Come back. What are we going to do?
Okay, let's welcome our third speaker of the proposition, Ms. Johanna Livingstone, sorry.
Good day, educators, honorable chairperson, timekeeper, worthy opponents, and my fellow teammates. Ladies and gentlemen, a reform may sound excellent in theory, but if it cannot work realistically in the classroom, then they are merely ideas on paper, not solutions for children. As a third speaker for the proposition, I rise to strengthen our case and prove why classroom reality
Student success, is best guided when classroom reality. Student success is best guided when classroom realities fit educational reforms. My first point is practical relevance. Educational reform must not only reflect what is happening. Educational reform must reflect what is actually happening in the classroom. In Guyana, not every primary school operates under the same conditions. Some are overcrowded. Teachers manage mixed ability learners, while in the hinterland and the river area, teachers may experience shortages of resources, inconsistent attendance, and unequal access to technology. Yet, educational reforms are often designed as if every classroom is identical. Research by Matthew Jukes and colleagues 2021 found that reforms are successful when they are adapted to the students' learning environment and cultural context. Their work proved that reforms fail when they are disconnected from classroom realities. Educators, how can we get success if reform is disconnected from realities? A curriculum may look excellent in theory, but if teachers cannot realistically apply it, then the students suffer the consequences. My second point is feasibility. A successful reform must not only be ambitious, it must be achievable. When reforms are disconnected from classroom realities, it places unrealistic burdens on teachers. Teachers in Guyanese classroom are already balancing curriculum demands, behavioral management, assessment, differentiated instruction, and different student learning needs. If reform requires resources, training, or time, simply what schools do not have, then implementation becomes nearly impossible. Educational scholar Bishop Advas 2020 argued that reforms become sustainable. Reform becomes sustainable. Educational scholar Bishop Advas argued that reform becomes sustainable when policymakers consider teacher lived classroom realities. In other words, reforms succeed when teachers are equipped to carry it out, not overwhelmed by unrealistic expectation. Educators, practical relevance and feasibility is not optional. It is essential. When reform is practical and meaningful, children engage more. Teachers teach better. Achievements improve. We cannot ignore the everyday challenges teacher faces. Educational reform must not be based on assumption. If the reform is not practical, it's ineffective. If it is not feasible, it will fail. And so I ask this house, must we put our trust built on theory alone, or must we support reforms grounded by the real classroom experiences? For every child who deserves meaningful learning, for every teacher who is striving for excellence, and every classroom seeking success, I stand firmly, confidently, and unapologetically in support of this Moot. Thank you.
Okay, let's welcome the third speaker of the opposition, Ms. Tamika Smith. Honorable judges and members of the audience, if every child in a classroom received the same lesson, why they do not achieve the same results? Imagine two children coming to school, they are in the same classroom. One arrived well-fed, supported at home, and equipped with resources needed to learn. The other arrives heavily depressed, worried, and struggling with challenges beyond their control. They share the same teacher, they sit in the same classroom, they receive the same lesson, yet their chances of success are not the same. Why do you think that is so? It is because student success is determined by far more than classroom realities. As the third speaker, I stand and I will demonstrate why focusing primarily on classroom realities is not only insufficient, but ultimately ineffective in achieving true student success. Children do not leave their problems at the classroom doors. They carry those circumstances into every lessons, into every activities, into every playground, and into every examination rooms. A child who comes to school depressed faces challenges classroom realities cannot solve or fix. A child who lacks books, internet access, or a quiet place to study at home faces barriers that realities alone cannot overcome. Our classroom realities alone cannot overcome or fix. A child living in poverty faces obstacles that no classroom strategies can completely erase. These realities remind us of a simple but important fact: student success is influenced by many factors beyond what happens inside a classroom. Honorable judges, throughout this debate, the opposition team has consistently argued towards a broader and more realistic understanding of education reform that would comprehensively facilitate students' academic success. Our first speaker demonstrated that classroom realities vary greatly from one school to another. Therefore, it cannot effectively guide national curriculum reform. Our second speaker showed that meaningful reform requires abilities, skills, and long-term planning that extended far beyond expertise of individual classroom. Today, I add one final point. Educational success is shaped by a network of influences that exist both inside and outside of the classroom environment. What about nutrition, healthcare, parental involvement, community support, economic stability, and early child development, just to name a few? All of these factors plays a major role in determining whether a child succeeds academically or not. If education reform focused primarily on classroom realities, policymakers may overlook the critical influences. They may focus on what is immediately visible while ignoring the deeper cause of educational challenges. Honorable judges, some of these effective educational interventions occur before a child even enters a classroom. So how can classroom realities be the primary guide of educational reform when many of these factors that determine student success exist outside the classroom and even before the formal classroom bell rings? The answer is simple: they cannot. Honorable judges, I close our team's argument with a simple but most powerful and relevant fact by Mr. Omar, and I quote, "Learning is not just limited to a classroom." End of quote. Thank you.
Congratulations to the teams for presenting their arguments and giving the judges some work to do. You now have some time to prepare for the rebuttal. We are going to indicate by the bell now that you should start putting together your rebuttal. And remember, when the bell goes, you need to be able to get up first speaker of the opposition first and then the proposition to present your rebuttal. So just get your act together, both teams, and we'll give you some breathing space to do that, and then we'll have you come present your rebuttals. I can a little more than that. We'll indicate. Press the buzzer. Start.
treating the classroom as though it is the center of the educational universe. They would have us believe that the day-to-day activities in the classroom should be the sole determinant of educational reform that is geared towards advancing the academic success of its nation. My worthy opponents, educational systems do not exist in a vacuum. The proposition says teachers knows their student best, therefore classroom realities should guide educational reform. We, the opposition, say that knowing the student best does not make a teacher qualified to influence educational reforms. Knowing a classroom is not the same as knowing educational system. Effective educational reform encompasses curriculum, budget, assessment, teachers training, and national developmental goals. No individual teacher or classroom has access to all the information necessary to make those decisions. The proposition says classroom reality ensures reform. Classroom realities ensures reform addresses real problems. Classroom realities help identify the problems. But identifying a problem and designing a solution are two different things. Doctors identify illnesses, but treatment are based on scientific research, not personal observation alone. Similarly, classrooms can reveal challenges, but educational reform must be guided by evidence, showing what actually works across an entire nation. The proposition talks about top-down reform often being failures. Be reminded, listening audience, the opposition is not arguing for reform that ignores classroom activities. We are arguing that effective educational reform that are geared towards student success must balance classroom insights with research, national priorities, economic needs, and expert analysis. The proposition, therefore, spent their time creating a false dilemma by pretending only the teacher's opinion matters. We urge the House, therefore, to accept the argument of the opposition. Thank you.
I need a drink after this. No.
Let's welcome our first speaker of the proposition to do her rebuttal.
Should have worn my heels. Should have worn my heels. At 7.
Good day once again. Having listened carefully to the opposing team, I rise to reaffirm our position. The opposing team would have us believe that educational success is best achieved through policies designed by researchers, policymakers, and educational experts. However, they have overlooked one crucial fact. No policy can succeed if it does not work in the classroom. The classroom is where formal education actually happens. It is where teachers teach, students learn, and challenges emerge. Therefore, any reform that ignores classroom realities is built on incomplete understanding of education. The opposing team speaks about standards, policies, reforms, and stats. We do not reject these things. However, data can tell us that a child is struggling. It cannot always tell us why. A report may show low literacy scores, but it is the teachers who see the child struggling to recognize words, lacking support at home, or missing school regularly. Teachers provide human understanding behind the numbers. As the first speaker from the opposition argued, that we, the proposition, are saying classroom realities are the only factor that matters. That is not what the Moot says. The Moot says student success is best achieved when classroom realities guide educational reform. The word guide does not exclude other factors. It simply establishes classroom as a starting point and encompasses the effective reform. The opponents also said that educational reforms require expertise and that policymakers understand what schools need. But if expertise matters, then teachers should be at the center of the reform because they are the ones working with students every single day. Teachers see firsthand what works, what does not work, and the challenges learners face. Policymakers may create the reforms, but teachers are the ones who have to make these reforms work. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout this debate, our team has demonstrated that classroom realities reveals the true needs of students, empowers teachers as professional experts, and lead the reform that are relevant, practical, and achievable. The opposing team has asked you to place your trust in expertise and policies. We are asking you to place your trust in people who stand before students every single day, who understands their struggles, celebrate their successes, and dedicate their lives to helping them learn. Because when educational reforms are guided by classroom realities, they are not based on assumptions. They are based on evidence from lived experiences. And when teachers are empowered to help to shape those reforms, students are the ultimate beneficiaries. For these reasons, I urge you to reject the arguments from the opposing team and support the Moot. Student success in primary schools is best achieved when classroom realities guide educational reforms. Thank you.
Okay, so the here. So let me see, are you excited for these results? Good. Are you excited for these results? Good. Remember, the judge's decision is final. So I'm going to welcome the head judge, Ms. Bonita Hunter, to give you those results and her final remarks.
Good day, everybody, once again. I must say that we were treated to an excellent debate. So give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah, clap yourselves harder, louder, with some more enthusiasm. When your education officer spoke this morning, I was very happy with the kind of language she used. Usually, we look at debates in relation to students and so on, to children you teach. Or the opposition. And so, as I said, we were treated to an excellent presentation by both sides. Well, before we make the announcements of the persons that we need to make the announcements about, that's both sides, I just want to make a few comments that will help you. And I do hope that this activity is one that you're going to foster and continue. This is something very good because while we need to develop our students, we need to develop ourselves. These debating skills bring confidence, they bring a sense of development, a sense of accomplishment. Because when I met most of you on that first day where we were talking about what are some of the debating skills and so on you can bring to the fore, everybody said, Miss, not me. I only hear under duress. And when I asked them, I gave them some little emojis to say how they felt. If you see them, look where you are now. Confident young people. And I'm proud of all of you. But I just wanted to make a few points that will enhance what you do the next time so you could tell the next set of people, look, this is what you have to do. So when you make a citation, when you make a point, when you do your definition of your terms, remember I said to you in that training program that you don't use the dictionary and so on. But when you come up with your definition, you're citing information that didn't come from you. So you need to say what the references are. And so you must have that. And then you must get a year, a date. And so that was missing from a lot of the citations that you made. We spoke about the language. And so I get beat up. with your lack of grammatical correctness, I get beat up. We had too many instances of poor subject and verb agreement, poor enunciation, poor pronunciation. And if you're not certain about a word, ask somebody before you come and stand up in front here or stand up in front of your class. There were too many words that you did not have the correct pronunciation for. And you're teaching the primary school children, you need to know what the correct pronunciations are, please. We appreciated both rebuttals, but and I'm going to be specific now, because those were general comments, problems that we found. The rebuttals were good, but it lacked a certain kind of structure. The thing about it is that as a debater, you have to speak well, you have to listen well. And I want to say that the proposition made a point about the opposition in the rebuttal. It was a good point, but it was not totally correct. They did not say, that is, the opposition did not say that they don't agree with classroom realities. They did not say that at all. They conceded the point. Y'all ain't listening. They conceded the point that classroom realities is a good thing to inform, guide the reform. However, it was not enough. And they said that right through their discussions. But you guys held on to that point. My team members felt that you did an excellent job. I too, but that is one thing that you missed. And so you have to be careful when you're doing your rebuttals that you get the points. And so a point that is not acknowledged, not rebutted, or rebutted incorrectly does not stand, okay? But good job. Give yourselves a round of applause. As I said, you needed to acknowledge some of your sources. A point that was raised by one of the judges that if you've got like the OECD and so on, you need to say what it is, and then you could continue with the acronym. Okay, so that's something that you need to look at. But for both teams, the interpretation of the topic was good in your rebuttal. The arguments that you brought up, they were really, really very good. And one good thing was that was a good conclusion at the end of the opposition speeches. Y'all heard that, right? Each speaker was able to conclude, but your final speakers, what you need to do with the final speaker is the final speaker must just make a wrapping up statement about each point each argument that was made. So for example, the final speaker for the proposition should have said, our speakers, our presenters, whatever you want to say, spoke about the classroom pedagogy, the cultural expectations, and the classroom realities. And I will wrap that up by saying that, yes, we need to look at the realities, we need to look at the feasibility and what happens so that you have a wrapping up statement. And then I liked how you said first speaker will do this, second speaker will do that, and that was excellent. So good job for both teams. I love and as I put it here, the point I made, division of responsibilities. So good job to everybody. And so I know you're tired hearing me speak, and I too must go. So by unanimous vote, our best speaker is Calicia Bristol. Aldi, here and Aldi doing the thing. Good job. But not saying that you guys didn't speak well, but we just looking at the best speaker. And the person who comes as the runner-up is the proposition, and the opposition has won the debate. Thank you very much. We'd like to ask, just a minute. We'd like to ask that you, both teams, get up and congratulate each other. And by the time they're doing that, I must say thank you for having me. It has been a pleasure. No, doesn't matter. They get big bad. The proposition get big bad, right? Don't announce the numbers. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen of the audience and the debaters, it was a pleasure being here. I have 2 meetings happening this morning, but I couldn't come to the last sessions, but I had to be here, and it was a pleasure. And I do hope that Natasha and your team continue to work with your teachers so that their skills can be enhanced and be developed. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Hunter. I must say, I'm happy about both teams. You are both winners. Smith, you came a far way. You came from when you started, and they would have never debated before. So I am happy to see from where you were to where you are at present, right? St. Margaret had a very challenging time of getting members for the team and so on, but you know, the thing is that the both team were able to come here today and participate in this debate. I am still happy. So we're going to do the presentation. I'm going to ask Ms. Hunter to present the winning trophy. And then I'm going to ask you to do the third, right? And this trophy was donated by my husband, Mr. Orange Troyer. Oh, I have, oh, Ms. Hines is right here. This one. Oh. You can do the best speaker, right? The person for this one is it. Ms. Hines? Ms. Hines? So I'm going to ask Ms. Not yet. Yeah. So I'm going to ask Ms. Charlie Williams to do the second place. Okay, the runner-up, sorry. The runner-up. And this trophy was donated by my nephew, Trevor Griffith. So we have Miss Donette Linton from St. Angela's who participated and they're third. And they came in third place. Miss Linton, please come on behalf of the school. And Miss Anika Hines, our education officer literacy, will present her trophy. Oh, yes, we got two best people. So I will have to get. So from the very first time, we had our best speaker, Miss our very first time we had our best speaker, Miss Kalitia Bristol. I'm going to ask Miss Joseph to present this trophy. And it was donated by Miss Donna Johnson, our former deputy. Mr. Person. Then we had this, on the second semi-final, we had the best speaker, Miss Livingstone, Miss Johanna Livingstone. This trophy was also donated by my husband, Orange Troyer. It will be presented by Mr. Person, my former pupil of West River Primary. You know, good things come from all over, right? And there's one good thing that came out of West. Then we had the best speaker for the other semi-final. We had Miss Donette Linton from Angela's Primary. And this is what did by my son, Miss Janelle. Miss Janelle, please come. It's going to be presented by Miss Janelle. Miss Janelle Waldron, which was her former teacher. So it's good that I called Miss Janelle then to give you this. To see where... No, that's not for her. This is for the best, the Oh, this one, let me do the other one time. Huh? So our best speaker for today, we have Miss $20,000. You want? Okay. So we're gonna ask, okay, we're gonna ask the proposition, the runner-up. Please go. Come, please. Yes, miss. Excuse me. It's my head picture. Yeah, I'm gonna cover your other things. All right. Yes, go ahead, sir. Oh, you only have. Miss Fanta, before you go, can I ask to do the distribution certificate for the one group at least? And I'm gonna ask Miss Senator Durgo after. The winning team. And these trophies were also donated by my nephew, Darrell Austin. All the trophies, the medals, sorry. All medals were donated by my nephew. Man, how you going to do your hair say you know thing that go over your neck? Okay, so we give him a round of applause. So we ask Miss Donnette Linton to collect on behalf of her school. Mrs. One, just give her just one over her neck and give her. And I'm going to invite Miss Hunter to give her the certificates. So I'm going to ask Ms. Hunter to present to the runner-up, and I'm going to ask the head teacher of St. Margaret's to present to her team. So I'm going to ask Ms. Diana Trotman. These certificates were also noted by my husband. Best husband. Tamara Damon. And they were designed by my son. Marshall Griffith. And Miss Joanna Livingstone. Thank you, Miss. Miss Sunita Durga, please do the honors of presenting your staff. So we have Deochan Bridge Mohan. He's not in the second phase, but he was in the first phase. Then we have Miss Brianna Francis. She's not well, but she's here today. Miss Vanetta Wills. Miss Kalitia Bristol. and Miss Tamika Smith. Mrs. Tamika Smith took on the challenge at the last minute in a couple of days. Only got one. Let's just come here for this one. Miss Dunnett, thanks, HM. Thank you very much, HM, for giving your support to your team. So we have Miss Dunnett Linton from St. Angela's. Let me tell you, this team was an amazing team, never debated. The HM forced them. She told them they have to, you know, and they came out and they did their job. So we have, so I put on the envelopes. All right. So we have 4 ampers donating to the winning team from Future Care Pharmacy. And by the time I went to him, he was like, I am ready, miss. So we're gonna ask the winning team to come. Okay. They say you present. Come. Everybody come and hold one. Just hold on. Just hold one. I don't know which one you want. Stand up. Stand up. Of course, I can get him on a picture. It's not me thing.
All right, no problem.
Then we ask the runner-up. We're gonna ask Ms. Hines to be in half of our office. The literacy unit has been very supportive. I can't complain. Once you go to them concerning literacy, I get that support from Ms. Grant and her staff. And so we have, each person receive a voucher, a gift voucher of 10,000 each. Go, 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 go. Go. Miss, just go in the middle. Miss, stay right there, and then I'm gonna call on Miss Dunnett Linton. Miss, she will take all. Also, well, from the literacy unit, you collect on behalf of your school. All right, Miss Joseph, I can get you to do something. We're gonna ask the winning team. Now this is a little token also from the literacy unit. Yes, each person will receive. Come. Y'all come. Y'all come now. Yes. Don't let you yet.
Come to your side.
to present to me. Yeah, I gave him already. So I'm going to, the runners up. Sir. Hi, Baba. There you go now. Hi, Miss. Come on, you're gone. Yeah. Oh. All right, Miss Hunter, thank you very much. I ain't gonna hear my vote of thanks.
I can't wait for my daughter to come.
All right, good. Oh, shucks. Miss Lynn. That's where you're going. You don't get me where you're going. That's where you're going.
I have a lunch. I'm going to meet up this meeting.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is what the message is asking.
so you want to go now?
All right. I'm in.
Thank you for coming. I'm sorry. Oh. Miss Linton? I don't know how you're going to hold them. Somebody's back. Oh, over here, I get him something. All right, so everybody happy? All right. Oh, my spectacles. Okay, ready? Good afternoon. Yeah. Good afternoon again, everyone. As we come to an end of this wonderful debate finals competition, I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to all those who made this event a success. First and foremost, I give thanks and praise to the Almighty God. Without His guidance, strength, and blessings, none of this would have been possible today. A special thank you goes to our CEO, ACU, Ms. Grant, Ms. Stembiso Grant, whose vision, support, and commitment made this debate competition possible. We are also deeply grateful to the Literacy Department for their hard work, dedication, and commitment throughout this journey. Ms. Grant, thank you. Thank you for being there when I need you the most, when we need you the most. I would like to also extend heartfelt thank you to my nephew, Trevor Griffith, and Darrell Austin, my nephews, for their valuable contribution and willingness to assist whenever needed. Your support is greatly appreciated. A special thank you also extended to Ms. Johnson and her daughter for their meaningful contributions and unwavering support. Your generosity and kindness helped to make this event reality. We are sincerely grateful to Mr. Johnny of Future Gale Pharmacy for his support and contribution to this venture. I would like to also thank the head teacher and deputy head teacher, David Rose Special School, for graciously allowing us to use their conference room. Your hospitality and cooperation are deeply appreciated. To our amazing judges, especially Ms. Joseph, she has been here from day one. I will find you, don't worry. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. Your expertise, fairness, and thoughtful evaluation have added great value to this competition. And I'm also excited because we have our judge, Mr. Pearson, who is a former pupil of St. Margaret's Primary School, and a very good singer too. Not St. Margaret's, West Ranville Primary School. He has been our calypsonian, he was singing, and he can still sing from the West Ranville Primary School. We are honored by the presence of our ministry officials, and we thank you for joining us today and supporting this important educational initiative. A special thank you goes out to our literacy coordinator, Mrs. Sam and Mrs. Waldron, whose guidance, encouragement, and support have been invaluable throughout this venture. Thank you, Ms. Sam and Ms. Waldron. I would also like to acknowledge my friend, my colleague, my sister in literacy, Ms. Alvarine Lane, who has been there for me from day one. When I say A, she says, I'm with you. She don't care who says X. Who continuously offered her support, encouragement, and assistance whenever it was needed. Thank you for always being there. A very special thank you goes to Ms. Bonita Hunter, who has always been there whenever I call upon her, from training the teachers, editing the Moot, ensuring that our judges were of the highest standard. Her contribution to this competition has been invaluable. Even while working quietly behind the scenes, she remained actively involved throughout this entire debate journey. Her dedication, expertise, and unwavering support played a significant role in the success of this event. Ms. Hunter, I am forever grateful for all that you have done. A heartfelt thank you also goes to Mrs. Hines from the Literacy Department for her constant support, encouragement, and kindness. Thank you for always checking in to ensure that everything was going smoothly and for offering comfort and reassurance when it was needed. Your thoughtfulness and support have been greatly appreciated throughout this venture. I'm getting like a little emotional. Yeah, I am, okay. On a personal note, I wish to express my deepest gratitude to my husband and my son. Thank you for standing by my side, especially during the challenging moments when the completion of this debate competition seemed impossible. Yeah. Your patience, encouragement, and unwavering support gave me the strength to persevere. To all the participating teams and their head teachers, thank you for your dedication, hard work, and enthusiasm. Your commitment to excellence and your encouragement of the students made and the commitment of the teachers made this competition meaningful. Without your participation, there would be no debate. A special thank you to DPI for documenting this event from day one and for capturing the special moments that we will cherish for years to come. Not forgetting my timekeeper, Ms. Martha Mohammed, my LSC, who stood by my side throughout this journey by ensuring I eat when I don't want to, making sure I print materials I need and edit them, and my constant reminder of what is to be done. Thank you. Thank you to Ms. Fredericks, who stood in at the last minute when I called upon her to do the welcome. Thank you for coming and giving us your support. Finally, thank you to everyone who came out to witness and support this debate competition. Your presence, encouragement, and enthusiasm has contributed greatly to the success of this event. This debate competition has been a testament to what can be achieved through teamwork, dedication, and a shade of commitment to educational excellence. Every contribution, whether large or small, helped to make this venture a success. Once again, thank you all for your contribution, support, and commitment. May we continue to promote critical thinking, effective communication, and excellence in education. Safe travel, and may God continue to bless each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Miss Joseph, I have to get something for you. You've been here.